Thank you all for joining. Let me introduce Dr. Hwa-Jin Kim, who is currently on faculty at UNC Asheville and has been there how long at this point?
19.
Wow, long time.
19, did you say 19 years?
This is my 19th year.
Oh, good.
That's amazing. 19th year. Whoa, they must really like her, and she must be a very tolerant person because students of all kinds of students go to the university, and I think it takes a special talent to teach students of varying levels at the collegiate level. So we are very pleased to have her. Hwa-Jin, do you want to make any opening comments? And I guess I'll let you decide the order of players.
Stand up for me. Okay, yeah. I'm Hwa-Jin Kim. Where should I look?
That's the camera there, but it's cut. Your head is cut off right now. Can you step back a little bit?
Okay.
Or even sit on the bench. If you sit on the bench, then we can see your whole. Now we can see your head.
Everyone,
Yes.
I'm Hwa-Jin Kim. So nice to see you in person and on Zoom. So I hope you like the whole event today. And well, I'm so looking forward to hearing.
All right. And who would you like to hear first?
I think Joseph is going
Joseph.
to go first.
We're going to hear from Joseph Chen. He's playing a movement from a Kulau sonata, and we're looking forward to hearing this. Joseph is 12 years old, goes to the Veritas Academy.
And I'm just going to mute anyone that is, unless you're speaking to with questions to Hwa-Jin, please mute yourself or I'll mute you. That's okay.
And I want to mention that Joseph remembered, probably better than most of us, that he is using hand sanitizer before he plays. And so we're trying to keep things as safe as possible here at Piano Emporium. Joseph.
Very nice.
You guys have a book. Okay. Okay, you don't have a book. Okay, all right. So, okay, we have imaginary score. Okay, so Joseph, I heard Joseph plays cello as well.
Yes.
So cello is your primary instrument. Yeah. So how long have you been playing piano? 1 year. So
Wow.
you started piano obviously
Amazing.
last year, and then you're playing throughout Sonatina. Good job. It's an excellent playing. You really did an excellent job. So what was so hard playing this movement? It's the first. It's Sonatina Opus 20 number 1. Yeah, I heard that, but usually the teachers assign this piece to definitely not beginner, but intermediate and not even advanced students to play that piece. So the technical difficulties there. Okay, since we don't have a music, we have to start from the beginning. Wow. Okay, this is the first time we Masterclass in the school. So, okay, this music is written in C major. And then Joseph, do you mind playing once more? Just a little bit. Okay, that's great. Okay, so Cloud, this composer, do you have any idea what period he was born? Like, was he older than Mozart or younger than Mozart? You can also think, Mozart in that period. Older. Mozart was born in 1756. And Cloud, surprisingly, he was a 30 years junior to Mozart. Even he was born 1786. So he was Dutch German composer, and he was, of course, an amazing pianist too. So, okay, it's the same thing when we hear Sonatina, Sonata, and that the age of alignment, that the balance and the clarity were very important. It's not just for music or literature and everything else. So, okay, clarity, balance, control. It's important. So that's what we feel whenever we hear sonata or sonatina, right? So this piece, okay, you did. Can you play third bar one more time? The second bar, both hands. Okay. So, do you like the sound of it? Of course, we played everything. Yeah. Since we don't know music, I'm going to be really picky. Okay, the beginning right here. So you did very well. You were carrying that phrase from here to your next goal was that note, right? You did it really good, actually. You arrived there very nicely. Then one thing, just a little small thing that bothered me was that little repetitive notes right there. Can you try one more time? I'm not saying anything. What were you trying to do just now? Like, you were thinking, actually, I couldn't hear that. What did you think?
Like, not instead of like the singing, so.
Excellent, yes. So it's, okay, in notation, we cannot put everything there, right? Although we see different edits there. So when you have this, when you saw probably the articulation was staccato of 3/8 note, right? So you play it tastefully. That's good. That's good. Then it's hard to go from there to make that connection to that next goal. So think a little crescendo. Within that small. That's your first destination, actually. Then you move on, okay? So the whole phrase. So it's easier when we play romantic pieces because the phrasing is easier because we feel more. That was the intention of a composer. Like a romantic period, the composers, they were actually expressing all their personal feelings toward music, right? Well, everybody was doing that. That was the big difference between romantic period and classical period. So even though you are so sad, you don't write music sadly. Imagine Mozart music. Everything is, there are little exceptions, but so happy, even if when he was going through the hardest time in his life. Okay, so let's try this one more time. Okay, let's look at that. Okay. All right. Should I speak louder?
Yes. People are having a hard time. They can hear the piano fine, but they're not hearing your voices.
Okay.
So if you could both speak up a little bit.
I speak very loud.
All right.
Okay.
Your full
Is it
professor
better?
voice.
Okay. All right. Joseph? Okay. So you did it very well, but I wanted to do more on that highest note. Okay, try one more time. Yeah, that takes a lot of control, actually. I'm asking too much from him. Actually, that's really hard, especially who play the piano only 1 year. Okay, so, but you can have a play later. Right? So, but most of the teachers, we get excited when students play everything like that. That's already good, excellent. Everything is there. So we're talking about, since you did it so well, we're talking about next level, like really advanced level. Although you are playing sonatina, not that sonatina is a low level, but you can play in a seemingly simple piece in at least 100 different ways, right? So just one more time. Are you bored? It's your fault. You didn't bring score. Here. Here. Okay, the release point right there. So it's very important. There is rest. Even if there is no rest, we have to release that. So try one more time. Don't wait too loud. Where are you gonna go? Rest, yeah, keep going. Not gonna sing here. Right there. Okay, you are doing so good. I'm sure teachers there agree that you are really doing excellent. What I caught right here, the unevenness of your triplets. Okay, can you go back where you started the triplets right there? How do you feel your right hand? You're cellist. Do you feel much stronger with your left hand?
Kind of.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, well, making it worse because your right hand was triplets. Okay, so your fingering, are you okay with 1, 2, 3 there? Or 4?
1, 2, 3.
I saw you using 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
So we're talking about G and E, and then G, C, E flat, and Joseph was using 1, 2, 3. So I'm just checking if it's good for it. But 4 might be better. Try number 4 instead of 3. Okay, that's good. So, piano is really complex instrument, right? As we all know. It is hard because he was busy working on right hand, right? But we have another hand to worry about. In this case, it's just a simple octave, but you still want to phrase it as well. You don't want to play everything 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. How would you phrase that? hear 1, 2, 3, like that?
Yeah.
So can you phrase, so have a small goal, like, you know, you don't, okay, the music, we begin with a one note, but that's useless if there's no relationship with other notes, right? So you don't just play single note unless the composer's intention was that way. Just think about connecting 2, 3, okay? So you are here, but you don't separate 1, 1, 1. I mean, because I know you're worried with writing, so it's really easy to. It's easy to do this, but I think this way you can save a lot of time. Like, you know, the phrasing, it's small, it's only one measure, but 1, 2, 3, and 2, 1, another 1.5, 2.5, 3.5. Then you close the next, right? So instead of well, being able to play that, that's really commendable. Good job. After that, since you're doing it so well, think about okay. Right there. Okay. All right. It's hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is hard. It is, I feel for you right there. So, you know, we tend to rush more as soon as we remember where we are going to. The next phrase is goes past the section. We immediately tense ourselves even. So I try so hard not to do that. So how do you practice that scale?
Well, like slower, so you can like get off.
Slow. Okay, show me how slow is good practice. Okay, I see you're grouping the notes. But that's actually a start. Try one more time. Okay, do you know why you are pressing those notes?
Because it's like the beginning of the or down beat or some parts, but
okay, that's good. So I see what you're doing is you are grouping. There are 4 or 5 different groups, right? So it's a group of 4 notes. So the first note is the leader of that group. Okay, so that's what you're assigning that note. More important is here. So you're doing. Okay, that's the first step. First step never should be. It's nothing. When you play scale and you're just going to play every single note that way, you're wasting your time. So first step will be grouping note right away. That is the 2, 3, 4. Right. So once you feel comfortable and you move on to the second step, that will be expanding that phrase, meaning you will have a group of 8 instead of 4. So here. You hear that? Try that. G. It's C sharp. Yeah. Okay. So that way you can get rid of those pointy spots here and there. Okay. So do you remember the finger number you were using? I mean, those, leaders.
1.
Leader notes. 1. Okay. No, not that one. Lose that accent. Okay, once you are good with the first stick, another one, then 3. Yes. That's how, when you listen to like world famous, like really amazing pianists, they play everything flawlessly, right? So we are in awe of that, especially when they play fast passages so fast, flawlessly, right? So, by the time they're arrived at that level, they don't have to think about it. They just play, just like it's their second nature. But people like us, we have to work, right? So you have to think about that group of 8 notes, then finger number. So that's why once you settle down with finger number, you don't change it. That's very important. Okay, so you don't want to be creative. But once you settle, you decide, okay, I'm going to use this finger. Then use it. Of course, you have to take time until you make the final decision on the finger, right? So here, so you are using one here, there. That's your second stop, right? So when you play scale, actually, this is what I teach in even college students. That is when beginners class piano, they're playing 2 octaves of scales, any scales. That's what they have to do. So usually they never played the piano before, so they just do like this. That's just so hard to make them play legato. Doesn't matter your training is jazz, it's not jazz or classical, it's just the root. That is the natural sound for piano, unless you're playing staccato. That doesn't even sound like a staccato, it's just nothing, right? So, all right, here. When you play octaves, okay, practice this way, 2 octaves of scale. Let's do first octave first, 1 octave. Okay, think crescendo, that's a lot easier, so never play. Okay, piano is harder because you're going down vertically and then you have to go horizontally as well at the same time. That's why it's just so hard, especially for beginners here. So. Okay, first octave, 1 octave first. Then, if you feel comfortable, try this. Do you see what I'm doing here? What did I do? Yeah, I changed the dynamics there.
Like crescendo.
Yes, I played louder than went to the crescendo, right? So, I'm doing all these things. 1, I went to 10, and I come back down to 1. I start from 10, and then 5, and then going back to 10. Then, even staccato, think about the crescendo. That way you can have muscle. You have to develop, especially in beginner students. You're intermediate now. Developing muscle, right? You don't have to go gym to make your fingers strong. Practice scale, but we assign students hand-on a lot, right? And then you know how dreadful that exercise pieces are. So, and these kids, they can play just, anything, but mindlessly. If it's already advanced students, then it's okay. They don't have to play hand-on. But students, if they're asking, or even grown-ups, they say, okay, can you give me some technical pieces? Then, can I play hand-on? Of course, that person can play hand-on, but you have to practice with a purpose. Otherwise, it'd be, waste of time. I mean, it's okay if you will live 200 years, they'll be fine. But, time is precious. So, okay, the first, number 1, hand-on. We are doing all this because you don't have a score. Okay, here. Okay, that's number 1. Then it could be tedious. I'm sure some people just listen to that piece have nightmare already because of the bad memory in childhood. But just to pick that piece, then you can actually make a lot of different exercise pieces. Like, of course, meaning you never play, even if you're sight reading. Never. 4 reason to group, okay? There are 4 16th notes there, right? So 4. And then second. That's okay. That's okay. Left, right. That's okay. And then once I have notes under my finger. That is the first remember. And then there will be a then 2, 3. Okay. Then you can change articulation. Okay, And third, I'm sure teachers know all these in the method. Okay, and then the last one would be that's a tricky one. But if you do things right way, actually it's fun. It's addictive, actually. Addictive practice on scale. So, so you have a scale there, then, I don't play scale well. Well, you can't really say that because it depends on what kind of a scale you're playing. There are scales do you feel actually more comfortable than other scales. So, okay, my scale is not good, and then I have to start from Hannah. Okay, yeah, you can do that, but you have to know what you're doing, right? Okay, are you okay? Too much information. Yeah. So you are doing so well. Wow, that was really, really, good playing. So think about that, because you are doing it. I suspect because you are also a good cello player, right?
Yeah.
I heard it from your teacher. Okay, so what time is it now? Do we have?
It's almost 11.
Almost 11.
So 30 minutes then.
That'd be good.
Okay, all right. So any questions, Joseph?
No.
Oh, you understood everything. Oh, okay.
I have a question for Joseph. Since you've only been playing 1 year and you've gotten so far, is there any secret in terms of your practicing? Do you practice do you set a particular goal for length of piano practice? How did you get to where you are in just a year's time?
Yes. Sure.
Like, probably because, prior, music education, like cello, because I did that for a while, and it gets kind of easier after you learn one instrument. And as for practice, it's about 45 to an hour sometimes. Yeah, every day.
Wow. Yeah, that's great experience. Good for you.
Yeah. You're getting a lot accomplished, obviously. And I think maybe you have a good teacher.
All right. So
I think he's off the hot seat. Let's give him a break. Do you want Sam to come second?
yeah, Sam. Yeah.
We had a book.
Oh, that's okay.
I'm going to trade you books.
Oh, that's okay.
I
I'm just trying to raise the microphone up a little bit. That's all.
Washington, when I was learning all my hand, and a book that I wanted to read. And so it's all totally mechanical.
I know.
I had the book up there, or a comic book or something.
Right. Exactly. If you just play forever,
So I like doing the variations because it means you have to concentrate.
Yeah, yeah. Keeps you awake.
Okay. You're all ears, Sam. So musical. How long have you been working on this?
Well, I started taking lessons every other week.
Oh,
Maybe in
June. Okay.
And I maybe really have been working on it for, I don't know, really like parents on me.
Okay, all right. It's beautiful. Kevin did a great job, and also you play so beautifully. Have you played any other Chopin piece?
Yes.
What would that be?
What is this one?
That's Schumann.
Not Schumann.
You probably
It could be easily Chopin, right?
She's probably played
Something.
back eons ago.
I haven't played in 17 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I literally just
Wow.
started again.
You did a great job hearing all that. That's great. Okay, so you're using Fontana version right here.
Mhm.
Okay. Do you have any idea what Fontana is? It sounds like a band. Right?
Not a clue.
Yeah. Fontana. Okay. Can we share? Okay. Right there. You probably, when you heard this, you heard, oh my God, that sounds a little different. She's probably playing wrong note or something. It's not. Like, here. There will be another version. It's very popular. That's based on just, the autograph version. And this is a Fontana version, meaning Julian Fontana was Chopin's school friend, actually. And they studied music composition, actually together with a teacher when they were, students. So they were good friends. So Fontana was Chopin's good friend, and then earned his trust. So Chopin let him copy his autograph. So that's why there are a lot of different versions of Chopin. But in this case, for this waltz, actually, this is one of pieces that Chopin said, burn all these after my death. But good thing they didn't. So we have this. And then that's another Okay, this is Opus 69, and then, so think about this. Chopin composed all this right before. You know how long Chopin lived, right? Chopin lived 39, 40, only that, 20 years in Poland. And then there was war between Poland and Russia, right? So, well, he immigrated to France. So there he died. He could never go back to his country. So this piece right before he moved to France. So, and that's another way. The 69 sampled number 2. Number 1 is, you probably heard. So that's another piece in Opus 69 that Fontana also, it's his version, Fontana's version. And then this one, Chopin's piece. Okay, well, I'm actually taking your seat here. Okay, so what do you think about the beginning of this piece? You have a seat here. Okay, so beginning. Have you thought about the first note? Okay, can you play first the 2 bars? Okay, so that I'm being picky here. You did a great job just being picky. That's my job. Okay. All right, so what is the time signature? Naturally, this is a waltz, right?
Yes.
So time signature?
3/4.
3/4. So when we talk about time signature, okay, how many beats per bar?
3.
3. How many pulses in a bar?
What?
Pulse.
Pulses.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Have you thought about that?
no, but I guess maybe 3 because I always think that like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2.
Sometimes 1, 2, 3, 4 meter, 4 beats, and they can be 4 pulses. That's okay.
Okay.
And this could be 3 pulses,
Mm-hmm.
or it could be just 1. It's up to you. Okay. When we say pulse, that's the heartbeat of music.
Mm-hmm.
So you can. So here, okay. When you start, what is the first note here?
Sure.
Yeah. What is the key signature? Yes.
Um,
Harmonic minor. It's a B minor, right? So he began with F sharp. What is that note? Do you have any idea?
no.
Okay. The first note is this. Second, 3, 4, 5, which is the dominant. The dominant is very, very important. You know why?
I know, but I know it's based, there are other notes based off of that note.
Yeah.
You know, like,
So dominant, okay, the relationship between tonic, dominant. You can just compose a song with those 2 relationships, like a 1 tonic chord and dominant chord. Just like, 1, 5, 1, 5. And then when you have a chord, the dominant chord is so important because that has leading tone in it. So A sharp is leading tone to right? So dominant is, I used to think when they say dominant, so it must be really dominating note, more important than tonic, but the dominant means dominating relationship to tonic. So it always has that magnetic fold to tonic. So that is the dominant function. So here you see dominant note right there, right? A third bit, upbeat. So Chopin, do you know how many waltz Chopin composed?
a bunch.
A bunch, yes, a bunch. 20. That a lot of Chopin's waltz is start with upbeat, not downbeat. So this one has also same upbeat right there, and then same thing. And here 3, right? So how do we play this piece? A lot of students, when we play that little upbeat, we just said, okay, let me play that note. It's like, you are securing that note, not really counting that note. Here, then, okay, whenever I'm ready, I'm going. You didn't do that. You didn't do that. I'm just telling bad examples. Here, then, like this. So this is an upbeat and it's a tied to tonic, right? Mm-hmm. So it's really unstable somehow. You want to go somewhere, and then your tonic is your left hand, right? Okay. So how would you play this more like, musically? This is a type of musical decision we make every second. Yeah. So 1, 2, 3, right? So when you start, because I was watching how you're gonna count that upbeat note. So sometimes we just play and then, okay, I'm getting ready here. But sometimes it's too late, right? So you think about 1, 2, 3. I just tell students, okay, count at least 2 bars. Okay, 1, 2. Then you can tell by the way they move their shoulder and everything. So they would do it. I'm not saying anything. Then you know that student is ready in the counting. So 1, 2, 3. Then it's upbeat, right? So literally go up. Then you can go down. This piece is really interesting because most of the time, okay, there's another word. So that's definitely downbeat. But that's easy actually. That piece is a lot easier to approach than this one. The downbeat is there. The right hand is tied. It's like you want to run and then somebody's just holding your leg like that. So what you're going to do, you're really annoyed, right? Then each upbeat, there is accent with that tied too. Yeah. So this piece is different. Then how are we going to play? Because a lot of da da dee da dee da 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 dee da da Okay, so what are we gonna do? Don't know. Okay, we already figured. Okay, the third bit is important here, but we're gonna play same way, make it really predictable.
Oh no,
Chopin would be very mad, right? The Chopin actually. Did you hear that it was? Whenever he played a different way. Why would he do that? I'm sure, being a genius composer himself, that's why there are so many different editions too. Once published, he would do more on top, something like that. So, but this is beautiful enough to, our level here. So that's good. Let's start from beginning, and then I want you to count before you hit the beat. And then actually, this case, okay, 1, 2, 3, left hand. Can you think about the movement choreography? Okay. 1, 2, 3. It could have been that way too. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Da, 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 da. Good job. Okay, so I think from here to where you just stop, take of the first phrase. What do you think?
Oh yeah, then we go.
Yeah. Okay. So
put it in, right? And then you go there.
Yeah. So right here, try to stay, although you have this big leap between notes. I mean, look, it's 7th. It's really big, deep, right? But instead of a loud, soft, instead of that, try to, can you go against? It's like going against nature. It's hard when note drops that way. Think about crescendo, although you're playing lower note.
But going softer.
Not necessarily there. Think about crescendo, the whole section, but not too loud. Then play softer. Okay? Then you can have that heightened. I mean, the beginning is already so musical, right? Because it's Chopin. Everything he did is just it's a high level, just very artistic. So that's the hard part actually, because the notes falling down too much, and then hard to maintain that shape. Then you can have the crescendo from there. So do not feel the beat here.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, try one more time. Right here. 2, 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Good job. It's very good. Just that the E was a little too loud. Okay, but it was excellent. It was excellent.
Okay.
So, playing piano, a lot of, like when we're introduced to instrument, playing piano is just so easy, people think, because you just press key and they make sound, right? But it's just so hard. Okay, I'm not saying string instruments are any easier. It's just so difficult because you just have to find your own voice in this instrument. And you think you found your voice in this instrument. Then you play different piano. You find another voice. So that's why it's really difficult. But at least we don't have to, carry piano around. So right here, okay, da, da, da. So how can we play loud but not making raw sound?
With the different touch.
That means you have to think before you play.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like we have a time, right? Yeah. It moves so fast, but you have to have that thought about how you're gonna. So that's why if you play years of a piano, like really well trained, then you don't have to think much because your default level is already up there, right? Does that make sense? So when you listen to like in Horowitz, whatever he plays, sonatina, even more, it's like every single note, it's like coated in diamond or something, so pretty. The quality of the sound right there. That was good. Be careful not to bang it too much, okay? Right? Okay, try one more time and then let's move to the next section. Okay. Okay, that's the next. But one thing, it sounds so good. You play, it is so beautiful. Right there, that second phrase right there. Here. So what's hard here is that when we see note type, and then there's octave higher note there, we think that's separated. I mean, not that you think that, but we don't really pay much attention to that space between the tied note and that octave high. So this is actually shockingly high from here. Here. Yeah, you have to think about where you were before to reach to top. This is actually really, very advanced concept when we talk about this. Is right here. One here instead of a da 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 da. Okay, you tell me the difference here. Da. Okay, I play this one. That's one. Second one is da. Did you hear it? Did I make any difference?
Yes.
I hope. Okay, so what I did was, you are here, and then, okay, how long? They decay so quickly, right? Piano sound, but when you're here, then you have to remember the sides getting softer, right?
Yeah.
Then you have to hold on to that and then connect that to next note. That's how we have that line. Yeah, you're doing that.
Yeah,
But that's hard, isn't it?
yeah. Well,
It is really hard because you have to open your ear. So we don't play, okay? We can easily play that way, right? Da, da, dee, da, da, da. So imagine opera singer. They can't just play octave higher. They pump themselves up, right?
Yeah.
Before they hit high note. Think about that. The pianist, we can just reach high note anytime. So we don't really think much. But good playing, breathe. It's really important. So da dee da 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 da. So okay, blend into da 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 dee dee da da dee da da dee da dee da da. Good job. Chopin is hard, right?
yeah, well,
That's why it's so beautiful. It's just so hard. I mean, think about that. Da 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 da. Here, you just did that. Here, even you did it here so well just now. Da, da, da. You're shaping the phrase. It's so easy to do this way. Da, 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 one. Well, we can do that when we the side read or like in the first week or two.
Sure.
Then after you get your notes under your fingers, that's exactly the same spot too. So you think about you're up there, right? Then falling, dee da da, little rise and dee dee da da da. So that G would be nice to have a little note hold a little bit. Although everything is retarded after that point. But so retarded. Okay. I think they put sign this so early. Okay, when you see retardando, it's like you're driving and then you see yellow, you put red, right? So you don't stop in the middle of the road when you see yellow.
Yeah.
So that's a warning sign. There will be retardando sign there.
Oh,
So
it's coming.
wait, it's coming. So don't start playing slow. They will be so slow, right? You are in juicy part. Then you have to play social note. Actually keep going. And this is good spot. Okay. Otherwise, let's not abuse retardando. Right? So this retardando happens right there. So sometimes it depends on the type of music we play, but you'll be the decision maker.
Okay.
A lot of you. Okay. Good job. And all right. Oh, here. Can you play here? That major B major section right there. Yeah, something like that. And it's hard to play the middle of this, right? So right there, you have this twice, right?
Yes.
So it'll be a first spot that you can do it. Okay, that's good. So when we Chopin, we cannot talk about Chopin without mentioning rubato, right? So rubato is really tricky. Yeah, we can seriously abuse rubato. Okay, right here. So what we're gonna do? You have exactly same thing twice.
Yeah.
So what you're doing you play it differently twice. So make up your mind.
Okay.
You want to do rubato both ways, or you're going to get rid of rubato, all together, or you're gonna save it for one section?
Maybe I save it for like over here.
It's okay. It's okay. You don't have to be destined.
You know?
Okay. Okay, think this way. So I just play melody. That would be a good spot to have that rubato. So you are staying here a little too long. So it's blocking your way to go to your tonic next. So timing really is crucial when you play, right? So once you take time, then it's a little bit awkward. It's not quite rubato. It's not rubato. It's something else. Okay, think about this as just an upbeat note you're lifting to get into second, the repeat part right there. Right there. Okay, then just play right-handed by yourself. Can you just go up? As soon as you play, go up, and then you are there already in time. So okay, you don't have to do what I'm saying now. Okay, my suggestion, my humble suggestion right here. Here, don't stay here too long. Don't make this note too important. I stay here a little too long. Okay, or in this case, we can always have different ideas, actually. It's okay to have different ideas. Actually, like when you pick this piece and you play more and, I don't have to do same it because you already mature in this piece, right? So you can have a different, decision. So here, right now, I was just suggesting. Then we have this different. Okay, think this way. Okay, do this one. Let's stay here a little longer here. The instant change right here. And then after this, keep going. Yeah. Okay. In this case, so this is really interesting too because you have this new rhythm, right? Four times, but it's a two section. Question answer, another question. It's cascading, right? So in this case, will be out of a four, two phrases right there, which is most important. Yes. Yes. So you create that sound here. Da, 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 then falling from there, then everything will be down in time for next phrase. So since there is repetition, right? So we can do this in one time, and then we can do differently for second time. So we have to work loud, right? So that's an idea, actually. You can go, of course, in the opposite way, but yeah, that would be a. Fontana giving us hard time by using, third and sixth right there. Orograph doesn't have that. It's just the one line. Okay. So do you have hard time? I mean, this will give you most, everybody.
It's just getting it,
I don't envy it's hard. That's right there. Okay, so how would you approach that? That is really difficult section.
I just and then stop.
So remember, try to group them. You have 6 of those, but your destination is here, right? So in this case, it's so hard playing chords instead of playing, because sometimes you play chords, it's hard you lose. Yeah, so here, where you are. So here, think about crescendo. Crescendo practice here. Practice crescendo, and if you do some direction, then it's easier to follow.
Okay.
Okay. I was just told here. Like that. Yes. Okay.
I just have one quick question while we're making the transition to our last student of the morning, which is, I taught Sarah, Sam, when Sam was a young person, and then years go by. When Sam was young, there was a lot of nervousness with performance, but I didn't sense next to none of that today, and I was hoping Sam could let us know what made that change.
Well,
Question.
In 30 seconds.
Yeah, practicing being nervous, like setting up the phone, like recording myself, listening to it, inviting. I haven't played in front of a lot of people in a very, very long time. So just having people, like I asked a random neighbor, come sit, listen. And then, like when I sit down, instead of counting the 1, 2, 3, I sit down and be like, okay, well, I feel I'm sitting on this bench, my feet are on the floor, I'm going to take a deep breath, But yeah, I think practicing being nervous has been helpful.
You did an amazing job. It's so musical.
And by the way, Sam is still young.
She was a baby.
But Sam will get old with 3 children.
Yes. Okay.
But it's really.
Yeah, we have a 9, 7, and a 4.
Wow.
Yeah, so practices. I wish I could practice an hour a day. Thank you.
This is Katie Osborne, and she is going to be playing what the
A la Turca.
right, a la
Yeah.
Turca.
Okay, excellent job. Were you enjoying playing?
A little bit.
Yes. Yeah, I would be. Yeah, it's always nerve-wracking, right? Oh, well, people always say enjoy it, and how can we enjoy it? It's just so nervous. Okay, so everybody knows this is a Turkish march, right? So when you listen to this music, can you think of any instrument? Like Turkish, actually this is what, after the Turkish military band. Not Turkish, all Turkish music like this, but 17th century, I mean, you know, the European people was attracted to Turkish military band music because that's when it was introduced. So I think they're more fascinated with the sound of, you know, the music. So when you hear, you know this. So, so okay, give me 4 instrument names. Turkish march, when if you orchestrate this music into, okay, let me play this, then you probably will, okay. Here's this. By whom? Beethoven, yes, that's another Turkish march. Okay. Yeah, it's later than, you know, the Mozart, but so you can hear this in orchestra music actually. Any instruments you can think.
A drum.
Oh yes, drums, bass drums.
Flute. Yeah.
Yeah.
Piccolo.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's good. And then what else?
Drum.
Think about percussion now.
Is it triangle?
Yes, that's excellent. And then let's just add one more.
Well, you said bass drum, but snare isn't cymbals?
Yes.
Okay.
So all these, you know, whistles and bells, when you hear Turkish music, Turkish march, so that's what we are creating there.
Okay.
Oh, not to pressure you. We can do so much on piano, right? So when you play, this is just so, you know, well-known music, then some students want to play, but others should dread to play because everybody knows. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, just like in Moonlight Sonata or something like that. So when you play this, you have to you have to establish that rhythm. That is what, that rhythm right there. And also, when you play this piece, left hand, I mean, this is done by Mozart, right? So can you guess how many piano keys Mozart had? Roughly.
He didn't have 88?
Unfortunately.
No. Okay.
Unfortunately, he didn't have 88. So any ideas? It's about 66.
Okay.
It's a little more 6 octaves. So, and also bass was not that strong. Right? So your left hand, we have to be aware of when we play Turkish march. If you, of course, rhythm is important, but you don't play. You don't make everything about left hand, right? So left hand is like a very light but steady. It's there all the time. So okay, you have that steady. That doesn't mean you play with the same dynamic forever, like a okay. It helps to phrase. You play left hand, and you sing right hand. Can you do that? Then your left hand also increases the volume as well. So same rhythm, but then coming together because we are playing both hands. Do you mind playing first 2 lines just one more time? Excellent. That's good job. Okay, now we can, as I said before, there are always like 100 different ways of playing this piece. So that was really excellent. And then if you want to make it a little more interesting, we can manipulate articulation. It's not illegal. So think about this. Because that's downbeat, because it's upbeat. We do that, right? But you see what I did here? So instead of stamping on every single downbeat, we can actually put those downbeat into larger scheme, meaning that would be your first goal. So then you can make this more interesting, because it's a phrase. We expanded the phrase, right? So it sounds all together nicer. Instead of, so you see for yourself. If it doesn't sound good, then you don't have to do it. It's just that we are always keep searching for better sound and the better way to play. So it's nice that way, or so. Although it's downbeat, I lifted my finger right there. So it doesn't work for everything else. It's just that in this case, in this music, lift, lift, and then that is the highest point. Then you come down. Then you can breathe after that. Okay. Try one more time. It's like a breathing exercise, right? You start soft and then, louder and then come back. Okay, so since this whole section is repeated, right? Mm-hmm. So second time we can play differently, right? So that's another decision we have to make. So we can play. Usually we do if we play louder. The second time it could be softer, or the other way around. Second time. So we always make different because we don't play same way, right? And then you did this video. I heard the dynamic contrast right there. Okay, let's start from the second phrase right there, section. Okay, good job. So it's also so if you can lift your finger on, down, with, then it's like if you're running, right? It keeps you a state you're always ready to run. Instead of walking, then try to run, walk and try. Then, because the timing is really crucial, right? Especially you play piece like a la turca, it's fast. So da 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 da. Then higher than you, which it's more. It makes more sense when you listen to it that way. Also, actually, it changes the timbre as well. So the elements of music. Right. Also, you can talk about concepts in piano playing is really hard. So what are very important? You can give me answer too. When we play piano, what are important concepts? Like notes, something like note. And the rhythm. And
dynamic.
Yes. Articulation and yes. And voicing and pedal. Oh, we cannot talk about it. So all these concepts, but then tempo too. But tempo can, be discussed later. So, but articulation is, I think, really important. It changes the quality of sound because articulation is just not staccato or legato. So sometimes it's in between. but that creates a special effect. So here, da 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 da. I didn't play legato. I didn't play staccato there. It's just a da 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 da. So you can only achieve that sound by going or listening that and da 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 da. All right. Imagine it's different, right? Mm-hmm. So that's the difference about working on I don't like the word manipulation, but the manipulating the articulation. Mm-hmm. So it's your decision to make because you don't see much. It's a ertics, right? No, nothing. Right. Not even finger number here. So yes, I see a little bit there. So think. Right? Does that make sense? Yeah. So you have to go somewhere instead of okay, I'm gonna take a break, water break. In the middle of marathon. So wait until later. Okay. There's a water break after that. Okay. All right. So
he doesn't write any like crescendo in here, so you just have to. Mm-hmm. I mean, I sort of feel it, but since it wasn't in there. Mm-hmm.
Why would we not put any articulation? I mean, articulation or dynamic sign there. What do you think? Was it too busy to write those things? I'm talking about 18th century. What do you think?
He figured they know what to do.
Exactly. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. We are talking about 18th century, right? So when do we have a concert pianist? Horowitz or other musicians, 20th century. Before, we have Clara Schumann, like a concertizing pianist, but she was also a composer. So when we talk about this, and then especially Bach, you don't really see, unless they wrote for their own students, these music, composers were performers. So they knew what to do. They knew what to do. And then besides, the piano is different. That way, a long time ago, piano didn't have this. It's all more responsibility. More decision-making element for us. So that's why it's hard. That's why, because so many people argue what is more authentic, what's not. But who am I to decide that? But, unless it sounds obnoxious, it totally cheats, then it's okay with me, even it comes to finger numbers. Because the fingering is a lot of the added type right there. It's a horrible fingers, actually. So students actually following those finger numbers actually end up having really bad technique. And then they think, I have to practice more. So they practice more on wrong finger. Sometimes it's something to do with using your, wrist and arm movement. That is very important, but just using finger number, and it could have been totally different because when they use the harpsichord, box time, when you play, everything heavily depending on your fingers, never your body. So it makes totally, and then do you know how hard it is to play modern piano, right? It's difficult. So what I'm trying to say is practice, use your finger economically, and the movement too. So that's what here. It's being economical in a movement. Da, 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 da. I didn't move much, especially when you play fast. You can't really move, up and down. So da, 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 da. So see, you have to resume that action. If you go down on down bass, da, 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 da. Right there, right? Okay. So, and the finger here, that's good. That's hard, right? That is one of the hardest spot here. So, still in this case, try to phrase it a little more, and then it's all here. Maybe you might want to set the goal right there. So when you play same thing over and over, it's boring if you play with the same way. Da, 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 da. First, of course, wow, I got all the notes right. That's big accomplishment. After that, find the next goal will be the climax within that phrase. Then let it go up, then come down. Then close that section. Then you have Okay. All right. Now, how do you feel about here? Or even there? It's hard. But I'm talking about here. Right there. It gives like 90% of human agony right there. So how, can you try, if you don't mind, do you have energy? Okay, try that one more time. Just there. Okay, that's enough. Okay, so, okay, this would be trick. When you play this left hand, it looks totally different, right? Right hand has 2 16th notes, right? The left hand is just that instrument right there. So go together. Can you do that? So roll this together and then play with this. Da-din. So you hit and relax right away, left hand. Play, roll and relax, roll and relax. Mm-hmm. So it's like this, relax, then nothing, relax, then just tap with the tap. Yeah, that's it. So in order to play this without injury, really, we can injure ourselves, especially adults, passionate adult students. They practice like, Katie practices. Good amount of the time, right? Yeah. So imagine you do wrong way for a long time. Then imagine arthritis, everything. So the important thing is when you play chord, you have to relax right away. Dun, 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 right away. If you maintain, you hold that tension, what are you gonna do? It sounds bad. That's the first. Then that is actually second. The first thing is it's dangerous to your health. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, quick. Then so quick roll and release, relax. Right. Try left hand here. 1, 2, boom. Then yeah, forget about what you did before. Then. Yeah. So you don't have to do much actually. Yeah, right there. So when you have a section like this, what we see as the audience, you don't really move your hand much. Unless you're watching Lang Lang. Lang Lang is really in the future, right? So what the small movement is very important to stay in control. That's the reason. So then the more importantly, to get ready for next section, right? So okay, that's hard right there. So yeah. Do you have any questions? Like technically, it's really worth the spot. Worse, I mean, technically very difficult spot in this case. Other than that,
just the tempo going from here to here.
Yeah, tempo. Do you remember? So when we talk about the traditional march, that is the bass. It's always there. Like that same thing. It's always there. It never leaves. So that. Then based on that tempo, of course, you can practice everything slow. Then you don't want to play everything fast and just slow here. So how do we do that? When we have here, so the last page, coda here. So don't try to play. Then it slows you down and you cannot play fast. So in this case, you have to break it to 2 groups. 1, 2, 1. Like that. So 1, 2. Can you try left hand right there? 1, 2. Yeah, pinky. Yeah, so your pinky is your leader right there. So, so a lot of times when we have a thumb, when thumb is magically on down beat, we are lucky. But most of the time, thumb for left hand is not. So you have to tame. It's a wild finger. So here, so not much feeling, but only pinky. You have to think about don't shift your weight. Then when you have a very irregular, sounds like that. So practice slow, but pinky. Nothing else. Pinky. Another pinky. Yes, only pinky. person rest of the 75. Yeah. Then 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1. Yeah. That's it. So try to match tempo. So it slows you down because you are trying to play every single note. Every single note is good, but you will always have to group them. It's a relationship between notes. You know, one note cannot survive, but it's just like humans. We need company. Okay, so I think we can end here. Good job, Katie. Okay. Any question
Before you leave the piano, could I get a picture of the three of the students with Hwa-Jin?
That'd be great. Oh, that'd be nice. Look at that. Yes. Pictures.
I wanted to mention they recently found the original manuscript of that sonata. They've always said it was that he composed that when he was in Paris, and that wasn't true. They analyzed the ink and the paper and realized it was in his early years in Vienna.
Oh.
So instead of 1778,
yeah,
it was 1783.
Yeah, I do. When he was 27, right? That's the year.
So it's interesting because with the Turkish march, it makes sense that he did that in Paris anyway.
Oh, I see. Good to know.
How about relax?
Relax. Okay.
Yeah, let's get the smiles under the
Yeah, that's it. There we go.
Hi, Joseph. Okay. Well, thank you for
Thank you so much. We're going to let
my
people go to the
pleasure.
meeting, but this was just delightful.